Frogman isn't just real.
Frogman can read minds!
That guy seems credible. Is this a stupid frog monster movie or a masterpiece in obsessive horror? Half the people who see this movie just think it's a joke, but the other half see this as a pretty subtle look at obsessive psychosis. Because ultimately the real question isn't if the Loveland Frogman is real, it's how many people our main protagonist is going to take down. Trying to prove it. This one gets hairy. This one, well, no, I guess not hairy. It's a frog. It gets slimy. But, is the costume any good? Is the protagonist in fact insane or just misunderstood? My name is CJ, and today on the Found Footage Broadcast, we're talking about Frogman 2023. Because not only is Frogman real, Frogman can read minds.
Yeah, he can read minds.
And if you've subscribed to this channel, you are a found footage fanatic. Welcome to the cult of the movie god. And hit that button if you haven't already. You know the one. Roll the intro. Here we go. Frogman 2023. This is on my list of must-watch found footage movies, which I'm probably going to have to make a movie about. The problem with my list of must-watch found footage movies is like 93 long. I really got to cut it down. But I wish I was exaggerating. It's not an exaggeration. But yeah, I did a whole deep dive breakdown on this thing, but I think it's worth talking about in context of the Found Footage Broadcast because, well, first of all, because the sequel's coming, and I wanted to get it covered as a proper review here on the Found Footage Broadcast. But also, I really think this is one of those ones that, I talked about other movies that get underrated by the cinematic fandom at large, but Frogman specifically, I think gets underrated by found footage fanatics. I think this one really deserves another go round if you've seen it already, because it's easy to sort of let yourself just sort of get distracted while you're watching it and not pick up on all the subtleties and all the nuance involved in a goofy frog monster movie. I mean, on the surface, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It took me forever to watch this movie because I'd see the poster and I'd be like, okay, come on. Like, how could this possibly be any good? And it wasn't until a lot of other people recommended it that I was like, okay, give it a shot. And I was shocked. I was shocked at how good this freaking movie is. So let's sort of cover the basics without getting too spoilery here. So our main protagonist is Dallas, and Dallas is a loser. I mean, that is the premise of the movie. He's kind of a loser. I'm sorry. It sounds like I'm being mean, but I'm not. That is explicitly what they are trying to portray. Okay, I'm not being mean. Okay, Dallas is a good guy, I'm sure. He's trying real hard. But here's the story. Dallas, when he was a kid, was on a family vacation and was messing around with his dad's camcorder on the side of a highway when they were lost. I guess they got lost. And happens to see in the trees this giant Frogman. And between that and a photo that was taken by someone else of the Frogman in that town, Loveland, the small town, became kind of like this tourism Frogman capital of the world, Frogman tourism capital of the world. That's what I meant to say. And I'm leaving both in. I'm not editing it. Despite how overly edited every episode is, I'm still leaving both of those takes in. So, what was I going to say? So ever since then, he's been kind of obsessed and he wanted to become a filmmaker as he grew up, but it never really came together. Just really, I don't know, he went to film school, but for whatever reason, just couldn't get his career off the ground. But a YouTuber made a video about the Frogman and its history and talked about what a big loser Dallas is and how he's made it all up. He faked it. And Dallas is really hurt by this because if a YouTuber says something, it's gotta be true. I'm the movie god. So anyway, for some reason, this means everything to Dallas, proving the haters wrong. He really needs to prove to the world that the Frogman is real, because somehow in his mind, if he can prove the Frogman's real, then his life will have meaning and he won't be a loser anymore, and this will all come together. And in a Hollywood movie, he would have had dialogue that says all of this. but instead it's an independent movie that has subtlety. So his performance carries it off. It's very clear if you're paying attention. But if you're not paying attention, you'll miss all of it. I'll just be like a guy who decides to go prove that Frogman is real. Along the way, he ends up entangling his old friends, possibly his only two friends, who used to make little independent, movies with him, little shorts, and he used to pal around with. One that he's clearly in love with, and a guy who's his cameraman and his best friend. So they all go on the road, little road trip. Road trip segments in found footage movies can be the kiss of death. It can be awful. I've seen many found footage movies where it's just road trip, and we're supposed to be tricked into thinking these people are charming. But this one has a script. Oh my God! And it actually has substance, and we get a little bit of interpersonal dynamics between the three of them that doesn't just involve everyone arguing or some lame love triangle or some nonsense like that. It's very interesting to see how their friendship really means something to all three of them, which is kind of a big deal because Dallas keeps putting the wants and needs of his friends second to his need to prove in a very serious way that the Frogman is real. So while his friends are out there just wanting to have a good time, wanting to just enjoy each other's company, he keeps smacking down all their attempts to have a good time. Wipe that smile off your face as he tries to get a serious documentary going about the real Frogman, which his friends don't believe in, despite the fact that they've seen the footage. And they don't explicitly say they don't believe in the Frogman, but you get the sense they're humoring their friend. So anyway, the adventure rolls out. They go into town, they interview locals because that's obligatory in every found footage movie, and they go to the Frogman themed attractions. They're kind of neat. They meet some quirky characters. It's actually a really good time. This part of a lot of found footage movies can drag, but is usually one of the better parts of amateur productions. And in this case, it's super fun. You have a good time. So then finally, he goes out to where he hears the Frogman makes an appearance. And it's a guy in a suit. I mean, no, literally, it's a guy in a suit. He tackles the guy and he pulls the mask off, and he's like, God, he's infuriated because, like, he was just ripped off. He feels betrayed because Frogman's real, and here's this guy doing a fake act. It just drives him nuts, and so he races to the hotel where the lady told him, you go there this time at this place and see the Frogman. And she pays the guy to wear the suit and freak out tourists. And he just yells at this old lady. And it is inappropriate. And then the sheriff stops them on the road, tells them to leave town. So here's the thing. I just cover these basic events, right? This is all kind of stock stuff. But there's an ambiguity here. Is the Frogman fake? And Dallas is a nutcase. And he just screamed at an old lady, tackled an innocent man who's just doing a tourist attraction thing. And the police are like, oh my God, this nutcase needs to get out of town. He's threatening people. Or is Frogman real? And these people know it. And they're covering things up in order to get rid of people who get too close to the real Frogman. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Sounds nuts. Guess what? Now, I'm not going to spoil the rest of the movie. Suffice it to say, everything I've said so far is basic preamble, first half, like pre-midpoint, okay? The big conflict is before the midpoint. Things get creepy from here, like downright creepy. They go and find the guy who'd taken an original photo of the Frogman, and he is massively PTSD'd and very spooky. They have some craziness in the swamps. They have some craziness in some caves. And yeah, there's bad guys galore. Lots of them. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I think the reveal is kind of fun, and there's no sense in ruining it for you. I mean, why go through it and make it less good for when you discover it? But I do want to talk about the ending briefly, and I am not going to, again, I'm going to stay away from spoilers, but I will say this. At the end of the movie, Dallas kind of gets what he wants. Sort of. There's this, I talked about things being ambiguous at the beginning, about how there's a couple of ways of looking at the situation. Well, Dallas very much puts his friends in harm's way. They go through a pretty damn traumatic experience. And even after that traumatic experience, he tries to comfort his love interest with saying, it's okay. People will believe us now. And she's like, who gives a crap if people believe us? Like, we've just gone through hell. And he doesn't have any sense in him that what really matters is this person who's crying in front of him. And so when we see him get his laurels at the end of the movie, kind of a literal sense, he can't enjoy it. And you don't know why he can't enjoy it. There's so many ways to look at it. Is his problem that he's coming to realize that he sacrificed what matters most for what he wanted? No, that's all right. Is he realizing that his ego ruined his friendship and ruined his only chance at love? Maybe. Maybe he's concerned that even though people like what he produced, they still think it's a work of fiction. Maybe. Or maybe they're taking it seriously. And maybe he got exactly what he wanted, and he doesn't understand why he still feels empty. There is this ambiguity, but there is absolutely no doubt that Dallas doesn't live happily ever after, even though, technically, he won. Oh, and Frogman's still out there. Thus, the sequel. Actually, Frogman and a lot more crazy crap is out there. But again, won't ruin it. Check out the movie. It's very cool. Oh, and it's another free one on Found TV. FoundTV.com. Again, not sponsored. I just like the service. It's pretty cool. I think that covers everything. But it's still important to cover the main question, the big question, the only question that matters. Should you watch it? You know, I think this movie is for anyone. I mean, if you like found footage, you have to see Frogman. It's like on our required watching list. Well, my required watching list, which is the only one that matters because I'm a YouTuber and what we say goes. Yeah. No, it's great. It's dramatic and funny and ridiculous and serious, and it's got great action sequences. The people who are going to get frustrated at Frogman are, ironically, I think, found footage fanatics, people who have seen a lot of found footage, because they do things that are just, well, they're my pet peeves. Legit. They do a lot of glitchy cam. They do a lot of stuff where, like, we're getting into an action sequence happening, and all of a sudden the camera's malfunctioning. I hate that. It dramatically works in this movie. It dramatically works. But it is just so overdone. It makes me nuts. That's my complaint. Now, it might be enough for you to not want to watch the whole movie. But legit, the only other reason to avoid it is because it's got slime. Well, no, it's got some gross stuff. It's got some real body horror in it, which some people love, but a lot of people hate body horror. And if you're not into the broad topic of body horror, which I won't go into the details of this movie, but you might get the heebie-jeebies here in a way that you don't like. For the rest of us, freaking crazy stuff. It was awesome. It's just wild, man. It was not on the level of like John Carpenter's The Thing, but it was still some pretty crazy crap. But, I think you should watch it, because if you don't, Frogman will know.
Frogman can read minds!
That about wraps it up, but I just want to thank you again for being part of this growing community. The feedback I constantly get now that the channel has grown a little bit, I mean, we're still minuscule, okay? At the time of this recording, just for the history of whatever, we're at about 720 subscribers. So we're still real small, but I'm still getting a lot of great interaction with a lot of you and in the comments, and it just really motivates me to keep going. So thank you so much for being out there. And if you're a found footage fanatic, then please join the cult of the movie god. Hit subscribe and walk with us through this crazy journey of independent cinema. Some big budget hits, but mostly just people who are just making art and making it feel real. All right. See you next time, my fellow fanatics. Bye-bye.